Welcome to Fika's Focus. Voices leading change.
Kia ora, Ash.
Kia ora.
We are here talking today really about quite an important topic in inclusivity. In terms of, being welcomed and part of centres, I think it's certainly a hot topic and an important topic, and one I know that you're passionate about. So just give us a quick definition of basically what you are talking to in this space around inclusivity.
I just think it's everything Future Focus is about. Obviously, a place to belong for everybody. So that's for our children, for our kaiako, or all of our staff, our support staff too, and our whānau as well, without judgment of individual situations. So that could be special needs, behaviours, whānau situations, background, where you've come from, whānau makeups, all those sorts of things.
I think it's important to point out, first and foremost, there should not be any level of discrimination about your enrolment going through.
Ever.
It's nothing is a variable in that sense, in terms of children with diverse needs, children with neurodiversity, again, family situations, or family makeup in those situations. That there should not be any sort of reasoning of hey, we don't accept children with high needs, or we don't accept families from this area,
or with court orders, or
any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Why is that? Number one, why is this an issue that we're talking to? And secondly, how do you know that we are achieving what we're talking about here?
Firstly, I think it's an issue because as an adult or as a child, I think everybody deserves to belong in the world and deserves access to ECE, and that's for whānau to feel supported as well. And I think that it's quite common for children to be turned away, or for whānau to be judged, and even our teachers. Teachers have had situations where they've joined us and they've been in previous roles and been judged by centre owners or managers or co-workers as well, because of a situation or things going on in their lives, and that's not fair. That's disgusting, actually. We all deserve a place to belong, and that's what I think our main goal is here. Yeah. What was your second question?
I think the second thing is, how do we know that we are achieving that?
I think we have a diverse group of people with us, working with us, working alongside us. Our children are all super different, and also our whānau are all supported in their own ways, and they're included. If they're business owners, we want to get on board and support them, and if they're whānau who need that extra bit of love, or they need some groceries or they need some support, we're here for that too. So
like an example is, we obviously provide chef-made food, and we don't often we don't eat it all, and having the ability to share that out to whānau in that space is a level of inclusivity. But also, I think part of it, and something I know that we're discussing here, the neurodiversity needs and or what people deem as high needs, that we play quite an integral role in that child's development and also supporting the whānau, right?
Yeah.
So do you want to talk to it a little bit about that in that space around just pure health and that?
I think that's already confronting enough for the whānau. They're already dealing with challenging things at home, or coming to terms with the fact that their child might be a little bit different to other children in the classroom, or expected milestones and things like that might not be met. So that's already big in itself. So if we are then coming from a judgmental lens, how is that helping anybody? So if we can just jump on board and support with what they need, getting other people on board, like the Ministry of Education and other support, having speech and language come through our centres. We have so many people that can help. Those are just a few examples, obviously. Even, families start getting those on board for whānau. That's not just diverse needs, but that's also whānau needs as well. I think we've got so much access to that. So if we can get that ball rolling and show support and not judgment, that's a wraparound, right?
And just talking to that, we often mention the ecosystem of a child. So, and let's just say it's a child of neurodiversity, neurodiverse needs. We often need to get everyone in alignment to get the best outcomes for that child. So that, let's just say, for example, we're dealing with a child who might be diagnosed autism. So it's important that we have the teachers and the centre on board with their support. We then engage ministry, and we obviously have whānau support. And when we've got all those pieces involved, what I've noticed is when the ecosystem is working really well and everyone's having an input into that, the outcomes for the child have a higher probability of success.
Absolutely.
And what we can do is, yes, we are an early learning facility where we are educating children, but we're also meeting the diverse needs of every child, including a child with neurodiversity, in their own right.
Yep.
Socialisation, having an ability to take turns out, learn how to take turns and be part of games and to make friends and to argue with friends and all those small pieces that make up being a child.
Being alongside other children is so important for their learning, no matter the diversity that they are faced with. Yeah.
So what are some cool signs that we know of that you see in a classroom if you walk in and there's always a very diverse group of children in there. But what are some cool signs that you would know, actually this is an environment that really facilitates a level of inclusivity?
I feel like one of the biggest things for me is when you walk into, I'm going to talk on terrace views because that's the centre I'm at. When you walk into, for example, our NA room, you wouldn't actually be able to pick the children who do have diverse needs because they're included in the play. They're not set up on their own little special thing. They're included in the group. They're sitting at lunchtime with their friends. They're included and encouraged to come to mat times and things like that. So it's not that they're enrolled but put to the side or, given their own special activity. They're included in what's going on. It might be changed a little bit for their needs. Even the kai might be changed for their needs as well, but they're still included with the group, which is super important. And then on the other side of things, we've got a child who's in a walking frame, so it's quite obvious that she has got diverse needs there, but she's surrounded by her friends who want to help her with her walking frame, who want to help her get over the little lumps in the decking and those sorts of things. So just that it's a normal part of our life and our day, and they're included people in our society. Yeah,
I think education in New Zealand has certainly advanced a long way in that sense, and I know there's a lot more research around that. But if we just come back down to the fact that it's entirely their right to be part of a meaningful society, even at their age. Just because they're 3 does not mean they're not a valuable part of a meaningful society. It is important that they have opportunities that every other child gets.
Yeah.
And I think the more we open our lens of compassion towards kind of accentuating opportunity for our at-risk, neurodiverse, physical, whatever it may be, I think purely as a society in general, we will grow greater compassion for one another. And kids actually, they see past the walking frames, they see past the neurodiversity. Yeah, sure, kids can be pretty straight up, but they do often see straight past it.
Or they look at like, oh, cool, that's different. Like, how can I get involved in that, Especially with this one little person I'm talking about. They just love her to bits. And, yeah, we're so lucky to be able to be a part of her learning journey. And all of the children in whānau who are with us that have diverse needs. It's important.
Ash, how would you approach, if I'm a whānau coming in, what would be your advice to me to approach having that kōrero or that discussion about my child who may have more diverse needs?
So you mean you're aware of that, or we think that something could be going on?
So, yeah, let's deal with that first, and that I'm aware of it, and I want to come in and just, I'm a bit nervous because maybe a few sentences said, oh, no, we don't quite deal with that. Could you talk us through what I should be saying that allows us as a centre that is inclusive to really get the best out of the space for that child?
Well, I think the most important thing is for us to get to know the whānau and what their needs and wishes are for the child in our care, what we can do to make their journey really special and comfortable and that they feel safe dropping them off with us, and that we're going to listen to the needs of the child. I think it's, I've actually had one recently, and it was actually around religion, and they'd been told by other centres that they couldn't meet the needs of this whānau and all their wishes, and that they wouldn't enrol, which is really, really hard. I found that really hard, and through the walkthrough I introduced this whānau to all of the teachers, and they were all so welcoming, and we talked about the religion as we went through and things that these children might not be included in, and you know that we'd have other stuff available for them at different times of the year. And when we got to the end, Mum was just like, this was not anything, you know, it was not what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as nerve-wracking. Your teachers are so lovely and welcoming. And I said, just because you've got different needs as a whānau does not mean that we're going to exclude you. It just means that we're going to make your experience a little different. And that's, you know, that was one example, religion, but that also goes for children. We've got children with Down syndrome, and we've got children with, you know, high needs behavioural wise and things like that. But it just, we need to work with the whānau together to make sure that they have good outcomes at our centre. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you shine a light on what is a growing issue. You know, we have been told that 1 in 4 children will be coming through our doors that will need support, and I want to be known, you know, obviously our vision's a place to belong, but I don't, well, put it this way, I don't want to be known as a group of centres that turns children away. No. I think that's really not the right thing to do. So, that's great advice for those parents in terms of approaching that. I also think just straight honesty and advocation for their own child. Go in knowing I am here to advocate for my child that has diverse needs. I'm here because I want them to have the same opportunities that other children get. And if you're straight up and down about that, and gauge the reaction, you know, look for the reaction, and if you see that in that scenario, you see a good reaction, then I think you're on to a winner.
Well, you should feel welcome, you should feel respected, you should feel supported, no matter what. That's my non-negotiables, really.
Okay, thank you, Ashlee, because I think that's quite an important topic, and we just want to reiterate, you know, in terms of supporting the sector, I don't think you should be, as a parent, finding anyone who should be turning you away. I would be concerned about that, unless they obviously don't have the space in terms of just numbers. And if you do, and you feel like you need to, I'd go and reach out to some support. There's plenty of support out there, MOE and things like that. But yeah, largely they should be taking on any children because it's absolutely their right.
Yeah, and if you're not in our area and want to chat with us, please reach out.
Yeah, just send
We're
a message.
Here to help.
Okay, thank you very much, Ash.
Thanks, Ray.